everyone, I'm the Pauranika. Welcome to the first episode on the myths and misconceptions of Mahabharata pertaining to Adi Parva. Mahabharata is one of the most popular itihasas in the history of Bharat. As a result, it was translated, retold, recreated and reimagined a million times, and slowly the narrative shown in the hit films started replacing the original text as written by sage Vedavyasa. Mahabharata is not a story, it is our history. So the ones whom we stand for or whom we consider as our heroes speak a lot about us and our culture. So rather than knowing the fan fiction of Mahabharata, it is pertinent to know our history in its truest form. The real story of Mahabharata lies in the details. However, when you try to squeeze it in a 3-hour movie or 300 pages book, creators may tend to miss those details, and we, the audience or the readers, may consider heroes as villains and villains as heroes. As in our series where we are covering Mahabharata as written by sage Vedavyasa, we have completed 2/3 of Adi Parva. Let's debunk the popular myths and misconceptions in that portion covered so far. Let's get started. Myth number 1. Shantanu's love for Satyavathi led to Bhishma's sacrifice. If you do not know the story of King Shantanu, I have linked the episode in the description below. Do check it out. For those of you who already know, a quick recap. Vasus get cursed by sage Vasistha to be born as humans. Around the same time, a great king by name Mahabhisha gets cursed by Brahmadeva to be born on earth due to his desire towards Ma Ganga. One day, the great Mahabhisha, who attained Swarga, goes along with the Devatas to Brahmaloka. There he sees the divine river Ganga. A gentle breeze lifts up her garment a bit. While rest of the Devatas bend their heads down in respect towards her, Mahabhisha continues to stare at her. Lord Brahma then curses him to be born on earth, and the Ganga, whom he desired, would cause him great pain in that life. On the other hand, the Vasus who were cursed by sage Vasistha prays to Ma Ganga to be their mother. They also request her to kill them immediately as soon as they were born, as they cannot survive on earth. On Ganga's request, they tell her that one of them can continue to live on earth, but he will have no children. The cursed king Mahabhisha takes birth as King Shantanu. He, along with Ganga, has 7 sons whom Ganga kills immediately after they were born. The 8th surviving Vasu was Devavrata or Gangeya, who later earned the name Bhishma. At the time of their separation, Ganga explicitly tells Shantanu that his surviving son was a cursed Vasu and he would have no children in his lifetime. So King Shantanu was aware of the fact that if he doesn't remarry, the Kuru lineage would be ending with Bhishma. Still, for quite some time, Shantanu does not even think about remarriage. When Shantanu finally sees Satyavathi, he finds her to be an ideal woman to further the Kuru lineage, and he asks her hand in marriage from her father. And Dasa, her father, imposes a condition that only his daughter's children should inherit the throne, which Shantanu was not okay with. While people around him would have perceived that he was sad for not being able to marry Satyavathi, he was actually worried for his family line that was nearing its end. I personally think that the popular culture movies or shows or books were a bit unfair towards King Shantanu, as he was portrayed just as an old man in love with a young woman. However, on reading the original text, we will get to know what a great king he was. He was one of the finest kings of the Bharata lineage, and his desire to marry Satyavathi was rooted in dharma but not in lust. Myth number 2. Kunti and her character. Kunti is one of the most misunderstood and judged characters of Mahabharata. She gets called selfish, irresponsible, jealous and whatnot. As we are still in Adi Parva, I am reserving the selfishness part to Yuddha Parvas. For now, let's cover the jealousy and irresponsibility part. Kunti left Karna at birth. True. No doubt that was a mistake, but we need to realize that Kunti, who committed that mistake, was an adolescent and not a grown-up woman. When sage Durvasa gave the mantra to Kunti, she was very young and she used it in her adolescence by mistake and Karna was born. The act committed by her can be called a foolish mistake, but she wasn't old enough to do that with any crooked intentions. There also, once she recites the mantra and Lord Surya arrives, Kunti rejects him and requests him to return to his abode, but Lord Surya, who feels insulted, says that he would curse her, her father and sage Durvasa. This part comes in the Adi Parva where Narada speaks to Yudhishthira about his elder brother Karna, and we will cover the story in entirety there. For now, I am just giving the summary here. If we see the character arc of Kunti, the only mistake she committed was Karna, and she gets judged till date, while the mighty man whom she had left gets excused even after saying worst possible things and encouraging people to commit heinous acts against women. Let's discuss these traits of Karna in detail when we debunk the myths of Sabha Parva. So Kunti leaving Karna was not irresponsibility but just a fear of judgment. Then comes the jealousy part. Kunti and Madri, both of them marry King Pandu. Kunti being the first wife and Madri was the second one. Once, King Pandu goes on a hunting expedition and kills Sage Kindama and his wife, who were in an act of union, and gets cursed to die when he unites with his woman. Pandu decides to take the help of any great sage for kids and asks Kunti's permission, and she fights tooth and nail against that suggestion. She explicitly states that she cannot accept any other man. I urge you to check out episode 24 Birth of Yudhishthira to know the conversation between Kunti and Pandu in detail. We will know how dharmic the couple were and how forward thinking our culture was. Then, after Pandu insists that he wants children sooner, she finally speaks about the mantra and she gives birth to Dharmaja, Bhima and Arjuna. Later, Madri requests Pandu to speak to Kunti so that she too can have children. Here it was widely written that Kunti was jealous and therefore did not let Madri have more than 2 kids. Let's see the real story. First, Madri speaks to Pandu and lets her heart out. She says that she was more beautiful than Kunti, but she couldn't become the queen and she was okay with it. She was okay when she heard about Gandhari's pregnancy, but she was hurt when Kunti could give Pandu 3 sons and she couldn't. Then Pandu asks Kunti to use the mantra for Madri's benefit and Kunti does it without a second thought. But when Madri outsmarts Kunti by having 2 sons in one go, she grows suspicious of Madri's intentions and declines to use it any further. So Kunti never had any thoughts of jealousy towards Madri or anyone else, and Madri herself says this before following King Pandu in death. Before getting into myth number 3 and 4, I might just need to speak a bit about one of the sensitive topics in the country right now, caste. As the topic is caste, let's draw reference from what Krishna Paramatma had said in Gita. Chaturvarnam maya srishtham gunakarma vibhagacha. That means, I have created 4 varnas based on the nature and work done by people. So, irrespective of your belief system, I request you to kindly think of caste as a family profession or vocation for the next few minutes. Now, let's see what our favorite villain Duryodhana had said during Astra-Vidya Pradarshana. Kshatriyabhyasya ye jataha brahmanaste chati shrutaha Vishwamitra prabhutayaha prapta brahmatvam avyayam. There were many brahmanas who were born to kshatriyas, and many kshatriyas like Vishwamitra attained brahmatvam. What does that mean? Brahmatvam, or the status of being called a brahmana, will be attained by great penance. Brahmanas are a set of people designated with the job of protecting the dharma by serving the Brahma or Almighty. As the profession or vocation passed from parents to children back in the day, the vocation or profession was inherited by birth. However, there are many who transcended this and changed professions, and that's what Duryodhana was saying here. Vishwamitra was a Kshatriya who became a Brahmana. Parashurama was born as a Brahmana but fought like a Kshatriya. The man who told Mahabharata to all the Brahmanas and sages of Naimisharanya is Ugrashrava Sauti, the greatest Pauranika, and he was a Sutaputra. So for the next few minutes, I request you to start considering caste as a family profession. Now, let's go to myth number 3. Karna's teacher. Who was Karna's teacher? There is one popular version which says Drona declined to teach Karna as he has a rule to not teach non-Kshatriyas, and when Drona declined, Karna went to Parashurama. Now, this is not true. Karna was a student of Dronacharya and later he obtained Brahmastra from Lord Parashurama. Let me back this up. Vrushnayas Chandakas Chaiva Nana Desyascha Parthiva Sutaputrascha Radheyaha Guru Drona Miyat Thada. Then the heirs of Vrishni lineage, Andhaka lineage, many royals from various kingdoms and Sutaputra Radheya Karna too joined under Dronacharya. This comes in our Adi Parva and we have already covered it in our previous episodes. So, Drona did not decline to train Karna. But when Karna asked for Brahmastra, which was possessed only by Arjuna among his peers by that point of time, Drona declined and Karna went to Parashurama, which again led to another curse. That detailed story will come in Shanti Parva and we'll discuss it then again. So Karna's teacher was Dronacharya and Parashurama came into the picture later. So is the case with Bhimasena as well. He too was taught by Dronacharya first and he later got trained under Balarama. That is the case even with Dronacharya. He was the student of sage Agnivesha and he also obtained few astras from the same Parashurama. Now, moving to myth number 4. Drona is a casteist. Do remember my disclaimer for next few minutes and treat caste as a family profession again. And now, myth number 4 and 3 are very closely connected. Let's discuss how. There are two specific instances basing which such opinion is being circulated about Dronacharya. First one is rejecting to take in Ekalavya. Second one is calling Karna as a Sutaputra and denying him an opportunity to showcase his skill in Asravidya Pradarsana of Kuru boys. First one is universally popular and the second one is very popular down south of Bharat. Let's see what the real story is. Ekalavya, the son of tribal king Hiranyadhanva, comes to Dronacharya for his tutelage. Drona definitely rejected him. But two reasons were given. The sloka here is Nasatam pratijagraha naishadiriti chintayan sishyam dhanushi dharmagyaha tesham evanva vekshaya, which translates to that Dharmik Drona did not consider Ekalavya as he was a Nishada in order to focus on his existing students, in this case the Kuru boys. So when his hands are full and as he could not take an additional student and as the student who came was a Nishada but not a Kshatriya whose primary duty was to protect people back then, he rejected Ekalavya. Let me back this up with few more details. By that point of time, Drona had lot many students from various kingdoms and not just the Kuru boys, and among such students there was Karna too, who studied under Dronacharya. We covered it in myth 3. Had Drona been a casteist, he should have rejected teaching Karna too, but he did not. He taught Karna. He rejected Ekalavya as he had to focus on his existing students. I think the previous myth we discussed about Karna's teacher is very closely linked to this one because whenever one wants to accuse Drona of being a casteist, They can speak about Ekalavya being rejected, but when the fact that Karna was also taught by Dronacharya comes up, that argument fails. Therefore, I think popular culture, movies and stories stopped quoting Drona as Karna's teacher so that their narrative of Drona being a casteist can float. However, Dronacharya was not free of any sin. Asking for Ekalavya's thumb was definitely a wrong deed, and let's discuss in the myth 5 later. Another popular instance quoted to show Drona as a casteist was denying Karna an entry to showcase his talent in the Astra-Vidya Pradarshana of the Kuru boys. This one is absolutely wrong. Let's see the sequence of events that took place that day. First, Arjuna displays his skill and people get elated. Then Karna makes an entry into the arena and tells Arjuna that he too can perform the same feats. No one stops Karna, and Karna performs all the feats done by Arjuna. Those feats are not like hitting one single target and be done with it. No, there were many challenges and many astras were used in the due course, and no one stopped Karna at all. Duryodhana, who was already friends with Karna from their days of studying together under Drona, greets and appreciates Karna in the arena. Then Karna tells Duryodhana that he wants to duel Arjuna. No one stopped him till now. At this point of time, Krupacharya asks Karna to speak about his family, as Arjuna, being a Kshatriya, should not fight or hurt someone from weaker sections of the society. The intent behind the question was a king can fight another king, or a person who was as equipped as he was or as strong as he was, and he should not attack a weaker person or someone from a weaker social background just because the king had strength. Then Duryodhana says, if that is the problem, I am making Karna the king of Anga. After the coronation, Bhima insults Karna and calls him Sutaputra. In this entire track, Dronacharya said nothing. Karna's caste was spoken about only by Bhimasena when Karna challenged his brother's skill. Therefore, Dronacharya might have had his own prejudices and preferences, but they were never rooted in the caste of the other person. And finally, myth number 5. Arjuna asked for Ekalavya's thumb. Now this is a knife's edge, one of the earliest grey areas in the Mahabharata. Ekalavya, after being rejected by Dronacharya, goes on to practice and learn on his own. One day, the Pandavas and Kauravas watch the skill of Ekalavya when he shoots 5 arrows at the face of a dog. No doubt Arjuna was disturbed. Please note, Arjuna was still a young boy, but definitely above 14. Arjuna believed that Ekalavya was better than him, and he speaks with Dronacharya saying, how come your student Ekalavya is more skilled than I am when you promised me that you would make me the best in the world? Arjuna wanted to be the best, and he questioned his teacher on why Drona hadn't taught him the way he taught Ekalavya. After thinking for a long while, Drona takes along Arjuna to Ekalavya, and there in front of Arjuna he asks for Ekalavya's right thumb. Ekalavya gives it without hesitation. Then Dronacharya teaches him a technique to shoot with the remaining fingers. Ekalavya does it, but his speed reduces greatly. Then Arjuna feels a bit of relaxation in his heart. So Arjuna can be accused of feeling content at the loss of Ekalavya, but he wasn't the one who asked for such a terrible thing from Ekalavya. So those are the 5 myths we debunked in this video. Hope you liked it. Please do like, share and subscribe for our weekly content ahead. Thank you. Jai Shriman Narayana.